Hey there! In case we haven't met yet, I'm Christina Marie Anderson, and I'm the owner of Wondersoul Co., a web development studio packed with personality. And if you've been following along with these YouTube videos that I release every week, I've typically been doing a lot of talking about myself and my business and how I run my business in hopes that I can support you by doing so. I'm a really big fan of sharing the knowledge that I have in order to sort of pay it forward because I didn't get to where I am by knowing everything myself. I had to learn from someone, right? Well, today I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I've been dabbling with the idea of making some Elementor and Elementor Pro tutorials. And today I was inspired by one of my consulting clients to create a custom client portal that lives on my website that my clients can access that will give them the information that they need at a glance in order to keep their project moving forward. And now I know you might be thinking, oh, yes, another client portal solution. And trust me, I get it. I know that a lot of clients are not using client portals. That being said, I'm looking to create something very simple that has the bare minimum information that a client needs in order to keep their project moving. A lot of times links get lost in emails, and really I'm hoping that this is a page that the client could bookmark within their internet browser and be able to go back to again and again to find the exact links that they need. And it's also going to have like a very short, easy to remember URL that's directly related to the client. So even if they don't bookmark it, at least it's not just like a random string of characters, which is what Google Drive is, right? Like Google Drive is not a memorable URL if you share a link to a Google Drive. So this is just a place where they should easily be able to access those different links that come up throughout a project. So I'm going to be building this out on my own website. So you'll get a firsthand look at how I would use custom post types and custom fields to bring this custom client portal to life. I'm going to get started with that. So just tune in, follow along, and if this inspires you, feel free to recreate it on your own website. Full disclosure, this is take like 4 or 5. I have had technical difficulty after technical difficulty. So if I talk really fast, I'm sorry. I want to get this tutorial out there and I just need to get it done. So bear with me. First tutorial, definitely going to figure something else out for next time, but I've decided to just go with Loom in order that I can get this done. So I am in the back end of my WordPress dashboard, and I am going to be building this new custom client portal on my own website. So I use a tool called Pods, and Pods is a tool that creates custom post types and custom fields. My understanding is that you can also use ACF for this type of work, but I'm gonna continue with Pods because it's what I know, and I already have some custom post types built with Pods on my website, so it makes sense to just keep using that. So I want to go to the Pods admin, and I want to click Add New. And I'm going to create a new pod, and a custom post type is what I'm looking for, and I'm going to call it Portal, and I'm going to do portals for the plural. And what you put here for the singular label is essentially going to be what makes the URL easy to remember. So my portal URLs are going to be wondersoulcode.com/portal/ the client name. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like once I create one. But this is what's going to make it easy for the client to remember how in the world to get back to all of the important links. So once that pod is created, we're going to go ahead and create a couple of custom fields. So I have just like a short list of custom fields I want to add. The first is project start date, and plain text is fine for that. Then I want to add intended launch date. Plain text is also fine for this one. Then I want to add the Google Drive link, shared Google Drive link. And this one needs to be a website, and I want to output it as a link, and I want to open the link in a new window, because if they're going to their portal, I want them to be able to like click on multiple things and not lose the portal being there. I also want to change the length of this to -1, which is actually going to give us no limit, because I just am not sure how long my Google Drive links are. Then I want to add the invoice link. Same thing, we'll go website, output as a link, open link in new window, and put no limit on the URL. And for the contract, we'll do the same thing. Website, output as a link, open in a new window, and no limit. Now, these are sort of like the 5 main fields. I'm going to add one more called project notes. And I'm not entirely sure if I'll use this, but it just seems like kind of relevant. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. And I'm using the what you see is what you get visual editor because that will allow me to like bold, italicize, or what have you if I need to, depending on what those project notes say. Then I'm going to go ahead and save that new field, and I'm going to save the pod. After I do that, I want to just take a look at some settings up here. So I don't really need to do anything with the labels or the admin UI, but I do want to turn on both categories and tags. I think that this could be useful in an internal capacity to see what kind of projects I'm working on and just kind of like have some data there. Then I'm going to go to advanced options, and I want to make sure actually public. I don't remember if I want public on or off. I'm going to leave that on because I think it would need to be public in order for my clients to be able to see it without logging in. Excuse me, but I do also want to make sure that it is excluded from search. So if someone searched for my client or for me, I don't want these client portals to show up. And the other thing I want to do is I want to enable the featured image because I think it makes sense to just have like a cohesive little client portal that could be shared maybe via Facebook Messenger or text message and will show up with that featured image. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Pod. And those are all the settings that I'm going to mess with. And then the next step that I want to do is I want to actually go create a portal. So once I go create the portal, that will give me the information that I can pull into the template itself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create my first portal. And I'm going to go ahead and name this after a client that I'm actually currently working with. I'm going to put a project start date of November 7th, 2023, which is today, and I did get started on her project today. Then her project should launch next Wednesday, so I will put that as the intended launch date. For Google Drive, I just happen to have her Google Drive pulled up, so I'll put that in here. And the invoice and contract are both in Dubsado, but I'm just going to put dubsado.com for the purposes of this exercise in order that I can keep this moving without going and finding those specific links. And then for the project notes, I'm just going to go ahead and put in some website Ipsum because I don't have anything specific to this project that I feel like needs to be added right now. From here, I want to set the featured image, and I'm going to go ahead and upload one from her website that I have created recently. Nope. And I thought it was going to be right there. Huh. I swear I just saw it in here. A social share image. Feels silly that I can't just find this. All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and put her logo in, which really doesn't make sense. But because I said I was putting a social share image, that's what I'm going with. And I'll update that later. I will go ahead and publish it. And you'll see now that what I was talking about with the link, it's wandersoulco.com/portal/myrd guide. So again, very easy to remember as opposed to having to remember like a Google Drive link or how to access the invoice. From here, I can go to the Elementor theme builder. And I want to create a new single post template. So I'm going to click Add New. I'm going to close out of this because I'm making this from scratch. I do want to go to page settings. I want to make it canvas, but when I tried to do this earlier, it did not work. So let's see. Doesn't look like that's working. I'm not entirely sure why that's happening. I'm not going to troubleshoot that at this moment, but I'm going to make these with no header and no footer in the long run because they don't need all of this extra information. So I'm going to rename this custom client portal template. And then from there, I'm just going to start adding stuff to the page. So first up, I want to add a container. And I'm going to give this container a little bit of padding. So I'll go 60 at the top, 24 on the sides, and 60 on the bottom. Then I'm just going to drag the post title in, and that's going to be the client name. Forgot to mention, we want to go to preview settings and preview it as a portal. And again, that's what's going to allow us. There we go. So now we're canvas mode and we are previewing it as a portal. So the client's name is what's going to show up as the post title. And from here, I just want to add a little bit of text after client portal. All right, I will center that. Then I'm going to add another container. And this container, I want it to be a row, and I'm going to unlink the padding so that there is no padding there. And from here, I want to add in 2 headings. I'm going to make these divs, and I'm going to style them as H5. So pretty small, but not too small. And I want to pull in some dynamic data. So for this one, I want to pull in the pods field for the project start date. And I want to add that text to the before text here. So you will see it as such. And then I'm going to duplicate this. And for this one, I want to grab the intended launch date. And similarly, I want to change this here to intended launch date. And then I want to center these. All right. Next up, I want to add a container that I can put all of those buttons inside. So similarly, I'm going to do a row and I'm going to remove the padding on this container. Then I'm going to add buttons. So I've got one button here. I know that this is going to be a fairly long title because it's going to say Google Drive link or shared Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and make these 300 pixels wide, and I want to justify them so that it fills up the whole space. And I'll just go ahead and make 3 of them. Then I want to put space between. It's like a little wide. So let's just go ahead and make this whole container only 1000 pixels wide. That makes a lot more sense to me. I also want to add just like a little bit of padding to the top here. Let's do margin. 24 pixels. So it's just moved down the page just a little bit. So this one is going to be shared Google Drive. And I want to pull in the appropriate pods URL field. This one will be access invoice. And pull in the correct field. And for this last one, access contract, and pull in the correct field. All right. And then below this, I'm going to put any project notes, which again, I don't really feel like I have right now, but that's okay. And I want it to be below the button. So let's move this up, go project notes. And let's just be a div. We'll style this as an H4. I think that's fine. And then I'm going to pull in a text editor. And in this text editor, I'm going to add any of those project notes. Good to go there. I'm going to add just a little bit of padding above this one as well. So let's do, actually I did margin there. So I'll do margin here. I'll do another 24 pixels just so it's filling out the page nicely. And then the last thing that I want to add on here is something that I don't need to pull in with a custom field, but I give my clients this welcome guide that kind of helps them understand how to best work together. So I'm going to put some text in here that links to that. So want to refresh yourself on how we can work best together. Review the welcome guide here to understand how to build a successful product and relationship. I don't know if that's what I will actually leave it as, but let's just go with that for now for the purposes of this exercise. And I want to link this to my welcome page, which is just /welcome. And I also want to underline it so it's obvious, like they can go here to take a look at that. I'm also going to italicize this just because I think it'll make it stand out a little bit. And I want to change the style of this just a little. So let's do... Oh, that does not work with my... There we go. Let's do that, but we'll do... Perfect. All right. I want this to be just 600 pixels wide. And can I add some? There we go. We're going to do 24 pixels all the way around. I'm going to center it. And I'm also going to center it on the page. I also probably want to do some negative margins here, which is not working. Let's unlink this and unlink this and just do like 12. That's better. The bottom of text editors in Elementor, don't get me started. There's like a whole bunch of extra padding that I hate. Let's go ahead and put some pixels on top of this as well. And I think that looks good. Like that's enough for me. So I'm going to click publish and I want to make this template for all portals. I'm going to hit save and close. And then I'm going to take a look on mobile, just see if there's anything that I need to tweak. I don't love that this is like longer. So let's see if I can go H6. Don't love that. REM, let's go like 1.1 REM. There we go. So that's going to give us just like one line, you know, not on multiple lines. And I want this to be centered and everything else looks pretty good. I'm comfortable with this. It's exactly what I need it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and click update. And that's it. Like this is the whole client portal that I'm creating for my clients. I might add to it over time, but truly this is just a simple way that clients can access the important links throughout our project. So this is as custom as it gets for me. I don't need it to be something complex. It can just be something that is easy for my clients to use and helps them not have to search through all of the different emails that go back and forth when a client is being onboarded into my process. So I hope that this was helpful in understanding how you can use WordPress, Elementor, and pods or custom post types and custom fields to create a custom client portal on your website. And even if this isn't something that you're planning on adding to your website, hopefully it opens up sort of like the world of possibilities for what you can do with content management inside of WordPress. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I appreciate that you watched this video. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, where I go in depth on how to use specific functionality on a website, please chime in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you to know what kind of tutorials you're looking for if you are using Elementor or WordPress yourself.